If you have been gardening for any length of time, you already know the truth most people do not want to admit. Half the stuff in those fancy seed catalogs is not worth the paper it is printed on. I have watched folks chase the newest trendy variety year after year, waste good money, waste good time, and end up with a harvest that would not feed a family of squirrels. I am going to be straight with you. After 40 years of putting seeds in the ground, getting dirt under my fingernails, and feeding my family from the backyard, I have learned that reliability is worth more than novelty every single day of the week. My grandfather used to say, stick with what fills the table, not what fills the catalog, and that old man was right about just about everything. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 15 vegetables that have never let me down, not once. These are the workhorses of my garden, the ones I plant every single year without even thinking twice. I am talking about specific varieties, the zones they grow best in, the mistakes I see people make, and the honest truth about how to get the most out of each one. And stick around for the bonus tip at the end, because it is a simple old-timer trick my grandfather drilled into my head that will make every single one of these vegetables perform even better. Let us get into it. First up, and this is a big one, is tomatoes. Now I know what you're thinking. Everybody grows tomatoes, Mark. And you're right. But most folks are growing the wrong ones and then blaming the plant when things go sideways. I have grown tomatoes in zones 3 through 10, and the ones that never fail me are Celebrity, Better Boy, and Cherokee Purple. Celebrity is a semi-determinate that handles heat, humidity, and disease like a champ. Better Boy gives you those big, beautiful slicers that taste like a tomato is supposed to taste. Cherokee Purple is my heirloom pick because it actually produces instead of just looking pretty. Give them full sun, at least 8 hours, plant them deep so only the top few leaves stick out, and space them 3 feet apart. The biggest mistake I see is people watering from overhead. Water at the base, keep the leaves dry, and you will dodge blight 9 times out of 10. Plain and simple. The second thing you need to know about is green beans, and I cannot stress this enough. If you want a vegetable that will produce buckets of food with almost no effort, green beans are your answer. They grow beautifully in zones 3 through 10, and my top picks are Blue Lake, Contender, and Provider. Provider is especially good for cooler climates because it germinates in soil as cool as 60 degrees. Plant them 1 inch deep, 3 inches apart, in full sun, and do not bother with any nitrogen fertilizer. Because beans fix their own nitrogen right out of the air. The mistake people make is picking too late. You want them slim and tender, about 4 inches long. Once they get fat and bumpy, you have waited too long. My grandfather picked his beans every other day, and I do the same. That constant picking tells the plant to keep producing. Next on the list is zucchini, and this one is near and dear to my heart because it is the most forgiving vegetable I have ever grown. Zones 3 through 11, it does not care. Black Beauty, Costata Romanesco, and Dark Star are my go-to varieties. Black Beauty is the classic that just will not quit. Costata Romanesco has a nutty flavor that puts regular zucchini to shame. Plant them in full sun. Give them 3 feet of space because they get big, and water them deeply twice a week. Here's what actually works for squash vine borers, the #1 killer of zucchini plants. Wrap the base of the stem with a small piece of aluminum foil when you transplant. It is an old trick, it is free, and it works better than any spray I have ever tried. The only mistake is letting the fruits get too big. Pick them at 6 to 8 inches and they taste 100 times better. If you are getting something out of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every week with honest, no-nonsense gardening advice you can actually use. It is free, it helps the channel, and it means you will not miss the next one. All right, let us get back to it. Coming in at number 4 is cucumbers. And let me tell you why this matters. A good cucumber plant will feed you all summer long if you treat it right. Zones 4 through 11, and my reliable picks are Marketmore 76, Straight 8, and National Pickling. Marketmore 76 handles heat and disease better than almost any cucumber I have grown, and I have grown a lot of them. Give them full sun, consistent water, and something to climb on. A simple cattle panel trellis is the best $5 you will ever spend in the garden, because it gets the fruit off the ground, reduces disease, and makes picking a breeze. The common mistake is inconsistent watering. If you let cucumbers dry out and then flood them, you get bitter fruit. Keep the water steady and even, about 1 inch per week, and you will have sweet cucumbers all season. Now, peppers are number 5 on our list, and there is a good reason for that. Peppers are one of the most reliable producers I've ever grown, and they just keep going until frost shuts them down. Zones 4 through 11, and I always plant California Wonder for bells, jalapeno early for hot peppers, and Carmen for a sweet Italian roaster that will knock your socks off. Carmen is an All-America Selection winner, and it earned it. Peppers need full sun, warm soil, and they do not like wet feet. Space them 18 inches apart, and do not over-fertilize with nitrogen, or you get giant bushy plants with no peppers. The trick my grandfather taught me is to pick the first few flowers off young pepper plants. It feels wrong, but it forces the plant to put energy into roots and structure first, and you end up with double the harvest later on. Number 6 is lettuce, and I'm telling you this because too many people think lettuce is hard. It is not. It is one of the easiest crops you will ever grow if you time it right. Zones 2 through 11, and my picks are Buttercrunch, Black-Seeded Simpson, and Red Sales. Buttercrunch is a butterhead with a texture and flavor that makes store-bought lettuce taste like cardboard. Plant it in early spring or fall, give it partial shade in warmer zones, and space it 8 inches apart. Here is the honest truth. Lettuce bolts in heat. Do not fight it. Plant it when it is cool, harvest it when it is cool, and you will have the best salads of your life. The mistake is planting it all at once. Sow a new row every 2 weeks for a continuous supply. Number 7 is onions, and I have seen folks waste good money on fancy sets when what they really need is good timing. Onions grow in zones 3 through 9, and my favorites are yellow Granex for the South Walla, Walla for northern growers, and red Burgundy for a beautiful all-purpose red. Here is what matters. You have to match your onion type to your latitude. Long day onions for the north, short day for the south, and intermediate for the middle. If you get that wrong, you will grow beautiful green tops and tiny bulbs every single time. Plant them in full sun, 1 inch deep, 4 inches apart, and give them steady water. Stop watering when the tops start falling over, and let them cure in the sun for a week before storing. Number 8 is radishes, and this right here is the real deal for anyone who wants fast results. Radishes go from seed to plate in 25 to 30 days. Zones 2 through 10, and Cherry Belle, French Breakfast, and Watermelon Radish are my picks. Cherry Belle is bulletproof. French Breakfast has a milder flavor that even people who think they do not like radishes enjoy. Watermelon Radish takes longer, about 60 days, but the inside is bright pink and gorgeous. Plant them a 1/2 inch deep, 1 inch apart, in full sun to partial shade, and keep the soil evenly moist. The mistake is waiting too long to harvest. If radishes sit in the ground past maturity, they get woody and hot in a bad way. Pull them on time, and they are crisp, mild, and perfect. Number 9 is sweet potatoes, and forget what you have heard about them being difficult. They are not. If you have warm soil and a long growing season, sweet potatoes practically grow themselves. Zones 5 through 11, and Beauregard, Covington, and Georgia Jet are the varieties I trust. Georgia Jet is especially good for northern growers because it matures faster, about 90 days. Plant slips after the soil hits 65 degrees, give them full sun, space them 12 inches apart in rows 3 feet wide, and leave them alone. They do not need much fertilizer, and they do not need much fussing. The biggest mistake is digging them up too rough. Sweet potato skin is delicate at harvest. Be gentle. Cure them in a warm spot for about 10 days, and they will store for months. Number 10 is carrots, and I will be straight with you. Carrots are the one vegetable people give up on too early. They need loose, rock-free soil and patience. Zones 3 through 10, and I grow Danvers half-long, Napoli, and Scarlet Nantes every year. If you have heavy clay soil, skip the long types and go with Danvers or Napoli. They are shorter and do not fight the soil. Plant seeds a 1/4 inch deep, keep the soil moist until germination, which can take up to 3 weeks, and thin them to 2 inches apart. My grandfather used to lay a board over the carrot row after seeding to hold in moisture. Once the green tops peeked through, he pulled the board. Worked every time. The mistake is planting too deep or letting the soil crust over. Carrot seeds are tiny, and they need light to push through. Number 11 is garlic, and I will tell you right now, if you are buying garlic at the grocery store, you're missing out on one of the easiest crops in the garden. Zones 3 through 8, and my favorites are Music for Hardneck, Inchelium Red for Softneck, and Chestnut Red for the best roasting garlic you have ever tasted. Plant individual cloves 2 inches deep, 6 inches apart. In the fall, about 4 to 6 weeks before your first hard frost. Mulch heavily with straw, forget about it all winter, and by the following July, you will have garlic that makes the store-bought stuff taste like paper. The mistake is planting cloves from the grocery store. That garlic is often treated to prevent sprouting. Buy seed garlic from a reputable supplier, and you will never look back. Number 12 is Swiss chard, and this one does not get nearly the respect it deserves. Chard is tougher than nails, it handles heat and cold better than spinach, and it keeps producing for months. Zones 3 through 10 and Bright Lights, Ford Hook Giant, and Ruby Red are my top picks. Bright Lights gives you those gorgeous rainbow-colored stems that look as good as they taste. Plant in full sun to partial shade, space them 12 inches apart, and harvest outer leaves first so the center keeps growing. I have had single chard plants produce from May all the way through November. The honest truth is most people overlook chard because it is not flashy, but it is one of the most nutritious and reliable greens you will ever grow. Number 13 is okra, and I know this one divides people, but hear me out. If you live anywhere in zones 7 through 11, okra is one of the most productive plants you can grow. Clemson Spineless, Emerald, and Hill Country Red are my go-to varieties. Clemson Spineless has been the standard for good reason since the 1950s. Planted in full sun after the soil is good and warm, at least 65 degrees, space plants 12 to 18 inches apart, and water deeply once a week. Okra thrives in heat that would wilt most other vegetables flat. The trick is picking the pods at 2 to 3 inches long. If you let them get bigger, they turn woody and tough, and pick every single day once they start producing, because okra waits for no one. Number 14 is beets, and if you have never grown your own beets, you are in for a treat. Zones 2 through 10 and Detroit Dark Red, Chioggia, and Golden are my picks. Detroit Dark Red is the classic that just works. Chioggia has those beautiful candy-striped rings inside, and golden beets are milder and sweeter, perfect for people who think they do not like beets. Plant seeds a 1/2 inch deep, 3 inches apart, in full sun, and thin them when they are about 2 inches tall. Here is a tip most people do not know. Each beet seed is actually a cluster of seeds, so you will almost always need to thin. Do not skip that step, or you will get a mess of stunted roots. And do not throw away the greens. Beet greens are some of the best eating in the garden, sautéed with a little garlic and olive oil. Number 15 is basil, and I'm putting an herb on this list because basil is the one herb every vegetable gardener should be growing right next to their tomatoes. Zones 4 through 10 and Genovese, Italian largeleaf, and sweet Thai are my top 3. Genovese is the classic for pesto, and it grows like a weed in the summer. Plant it in full sun, give it consistent water, space it 12 inches apart, and start pinching the growing tips as soon as the plant has 3 sets of leaves. That pinching is what turns a spindly little plant into a big, bushy producer. The biggest mistake is letting basil flower. The second it flowers, the leaves turn bitter. Pinch those flower buds off the moment you see them, and your basil will keep producing sweet, flavorful leaves all season long. Now, if you take nothing else from this video, remember this. My grandfather taught me this, and it has saved me more headaches than I can count. Before you plant a single seed in the spring, take one weekend and build your soil, not with fancy store-bought amendments that cost an arm and a leg, but with good homemade compost. He used to say, feed the soil and the soil will feed you. And after 40 years, I can tell you that man was dead right. Every single one of those 15 vegetables I just talked about will perform twice as well in soil that has been built up with 2 to 3 inches of good compost worked into the top 6 inches before planting. It does not matter how good your seed is or how perfect your watering schedule is. If your soil is tired and dead, your plants will be too. Spend the time on your soil first, and everything else falls into place. And that is the honest truth about growing reliable vegetables. No fancy tricks, no gimmicks, just 15 plants that have proven themselves in my garden for 40 years. If this helped you out, go ahead and subscribe. I put out new videos every week to help you grow better food with less hassle. Take care, and I will catch you in the next one.